mindset to live to 100 years or more. And so let's start out by defining exactly what mindset is. So mindset is a belief and mental attitude that determines how you will interpret and respond to your own life situations. So let me say that again. It's a belief and a mental attitude that determines how you will interpret and respond to your own life situations. So let's talk about your health span, because in order to live a long lifespan, you have to have a good health span. There's three components. There's your physical health. That takes on going to the doctor every year for your physical, getting your blood work done. You do that with your physician, and you decide where you are on that graph of your, your ApoB and, all those blood monikers that you watch. The second area is your cognitive health. Also, you do that with a physician. And I'm not sure what type of test they do, but I think that when we're well, but if we have a history of that in our lives, through our family, genetically, I have dementia in my family. On any given day, my husband tells me I'm going down that path, but that was a joke, honey, you're not laughing, okay. So I always want to keep an eye on that for myself. But the third area of your health is the most complex, and that is your emotional health. And that takes on things like fear, anxiety, depression, hopelessness, helplessness, and the likes. Also, in your emotional health, and those things, by the way, you may need a clinical psychologist to get and talk to. The good side of your emotional health is the joy, the happiness, the anticipation, the laughter. That also is your emotional health. But there is one small part of your emotional health that I am here to talk about today, and that is mindset. Now, I'm not a physician, I'm not a clinical psychologist, but I am a woman who has lived many decades of life. I think maybe you guys heard me say earlier to this young man of 83 over here, I'm 70 years old. And I feel like my own life experiences, which were both good and bad, has enabled me to have some wisdom that I want to share with you today. So let's talk about Roger Bannister. Have any of you heard of Roger Bannister? Does anybody know who Roger Bannister is? Yep. Yell out who he is.
Longest, broke the mile record for the fastest mile.
That is correct. Roger Bannister broke the record for running the 1 mile in less than 4 minutes, the sub 4 minute mile. So let me tell you an example of both a worldwide, a cultural, and an individual mindset, and that was Roger Bannister. For years and years, never before in recorded history had any man ever run a sub 4 minute mile. It was said it could not be done, right? But Roger Bannister believed in his heart of hearts that it could be done. And he worked and he practiced and he worked and he believed and he had a mental attitude that it could be done. And on May 6th, 1954, Roger Bannister broke that mile in less than 4 minutes when he ran it in 3 minutes and 59 seconds. And do you know, I think I can turn this on. Do you know what happened after he did that? What, Dave?
Other people started doing it.
Yes. 6 weeks later, the second man ran a sub 4 minute mile. And then 2 months later, a third man did. And to date, 1,755 men. Women are 7 seconds shy in 2023 of finally getting to that number, but 7 seconds doesn't sound like much, but it seems like a lot too. But that is what happened, is they came and came and came because why? Because they believed that they could do it. Someone showed them that they could do it, and worldwide, that mindset changed. I mean, I find that remarkable. Henry Ford said, and I love this statement, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, either way, you are right. Either way, you are right. So let's talk about life insurance. This guy does that. He just told me, life insurance, do you sell? Okay. Don't disagree with me when I say this, okay? If I'm wrong, don't tell me out loud. Okay, there you go. So let me tell you something. What is the first question that life insurance salesman asks you when he sits down across the table from you and says, hello, Mr. Smith, I'm here to sell you life insurance. What's the next question? That's it. How long do you see yourself living? They're very good. Esther, right? Esther, yeah, she told me her name earlier. Yes, that's it. And you tell him that number. You tell him how long you think you're going to live. Now, here's what just happened to all of you. You heard that number. You answered that question in your head. I saw it in your faces. You all did it. Now let me tell you what Mr. Life Insurance knows. That's why he asked this question first. 85% of everyone who answers that question dies at that number. So whatever number you just put in your head that you heard yourself say, you have an 85% chance of that happening. And I think maybe you don't want that to happen or you wouldn't be here right now, which is very exciting for you, right? So I'm going to tell you 2 stories right now. We have a friend who is Cuban, and the Cuban culture, unlike the American culture, is not an anti-aging culture. It reveres, embraces, and celebrates those who are living in their long life. Come on in. We take everybody. Thanks for being here. Come on in and have a seat. What's your name? Malcolm. Thank you. Thanks for coming in. Okay. So when he was a young boy, he realized that not everybody that lives continues to live. They lost a family member. And he turned to his father and he said, Poppy, I don't want to ever lose you. I don't want to lose you, Poppy. And Poppy would answer by saying, don't worry. That was a Yiddish accent. I don't know how to do a Cuban accent, I'm sorry. But he would say, don't worry. I'm going to live till I'm 83. Don't worry. Throughout his life, he became 20. Peter did. Became 20. He became 30. Poppy, I never want to lose you. Excuse me. Don't worry. I'm going to live till I'm 83. Guess what happened? He died at 83. He woke up one day, left the bedroom to go get coffee in the kitchen, and he dropped dead. And Peter says to me, he cries when he says this, what if my dad said, don't worry, I'm going to be here till I'm 103. Would he still be here today? I don't know. I have another girlfriend whose father said, I don't want to be 92. I don't want to be 92. And they never asked him why. They never asked him why. But 6 days before he turned 92, this is Gene Bokelman's father, by the way, for those of you from Long Life era. 6 days before he turned 92, he died. He died. So, you know, I've heard it said, what you think, you create. And sure enough, they do create. We all do. But the question is, and I want to ask you this, what is it about your number that created that number? Now, I'm 70. but believe it or not, I hear blocks that I have because I heard things when I was 6 years old that I believed as truths, and I'm still living with them, right? I need to see that clinical psychologist on a regular basis, I'm telling you. But, you know, is it that you heard something that when you were a child that caused you to have that number? Or is it possibly that someone you loved had a stroke or got sick at a certain age and then they suffered for years later and you said, I do not want to live past that age because I do not want to suffer? You know why. Think about it. Now, I want to say something to the men in this room. So if you're a man, raise your hand so I know who you are. Okay, good. I know who you are. I like that. You laughed. That was good. I wasn't sure if that would get a laugh. Okay. Men do not live as long as women. I've heard that. You men have heard that. But I want to tell you something. Maybe the data shows that to be truth up to a certain age. I love men and I want to see you live, okay? But do you know that when you get to centenarian age, there are equal men to women over 100 years old? So do men die before their wives? My husband say they do because they want to, but anyway, there's but, you know, think about that. Think about that for just a minute. So let me talk to you about the eras of our life. What is the long life era? What are the eras of our life, and how did this begin? How did the long life era begin for me? So let me tell you the eras as defined by me, because I'm supposed to be the expert today for just this 45 minutes, right? So this is what we have. We have childhood, 18 years. Wow. Goes really faster than we thought, right? Because we all know how quickly 18 years goes now. Young adulthood, 18 years. By the time you're done, you're 36 years old. Midlife, 36 to 50. Midlife is the shortest era of our lives. And when we come out of midlife, we go, wow, that was time went so fast. Nobody told you that midlife was the shortest era of your life, and it is. And let me tell you something about that. We all have had our midlife crisis. And at the end of midlife, when we either lose a business, get fired from a job we love, we lose a loved one, God forbid, we lose a child. There's all kinds of things that happen throughout life that cause that midlife crisis. But then you spend the next 10 years of your life overcoming that crisis that hit you, and when you wake up, you're in your 60s, and then you say, I'm too old. What my goal was in life is over. I can't do it anymore. I'm supposed to be old. And then we start being old. And that's just not what it's supposed to be, because the long life era is the longest era of your life and can last up to 50 years or more. So from age 50, when midlife ends, and oh, by the way, we were all in denial when that happened. I have a girlfriend who just turned 50, and God bless you, you okay? Yeah, okay. I have a girlfriend who just turned 50, and I called her the other day, and I asked her a question, which was this. So when you turn, I wanted to know if this was still happening, which is, what happens when you turn 50? Anybody? You don't remember because it was so long ago, but I remember because I threw it in the garbage. AARP gets mailed to your door, right? And I was so insulted. I threw it in the garbage, and when I called my friend who's 50, she threw hers, and she said, I did, and I threw it right in the garbage so indignantly. But guess what? Over the next 5 years, you adjust to the idea that maybe you are out of midlife, going upwards in age, and when you go to the movie theater, you are all too happy to take that senior discount, right? And then you know you are in, for sure, in your long life era. That's for sure. So how did this begin for me? And I really want to tell this story. Believe it or not, it is coincidental to September 30th, 2022, exactly today, 1 year ago, except it was a Friday. It was a Friday night, and it was my 51st class reunion, because at 50, COVID, had us closed down, so we had to wait a year. So I walked onto a beautiful patio with 150 of my classmates on that patio. And let me tell you, they were beautiful. They were energetic, they were vital, they had lived through some health crises, there is no doubt about it. They had had midlife crises that were really terrible. But the thing is they survived it all, and they were pleased that they did. They, were digitally adept for the most part, right? They were proud of their lives, and I can tell you the difference between someone who is 18 and what they're like 50 years later is you are so insecure at 18, and so when you turn 68 to 70 was the age of the kids I still call them kids on the patio. They were so secure and within themselves, and that was great to see how these people had changed. Well, I felt so great about the night. I went home, sat down on my couch. Tom was asleep. I wanted to unwind. You really can't unwind with TV. It was a bad habit, but I did it anyway. And I can't remember what I was watching, but I do remember the television commercial. It was open enrollment for Medicare. Now, let's laugh about it. Because let me tell you something. I'm sitting there feeling great about the fact that I'm going to be 70 in 3 months. And I looked up and I realized that I am seeing people in that television commercial that do not look like any of you, that do not look like me, and for sure did not look like the 68 to 70-year-old people that I just left on that patio. And then worse than that, not only was that what I saw, but what I heard, it just fires me up. I heard an announcer talking sing-songy down to these people that are supposed to be senior citizens, which I hate that word, and which is why I reframe this long life era. And not just long life era, you are living in your long life era. You're not a senior citizen. Get out of my way, right? You are living in your long life era. And then they hired actors to ask questions which made them sound that in the last 25 years, their IQ had gone down about 20 points. Am I right about that? Right? I mean, are you insulted by some of this stuff? I know you are. I could see you laughing and smiling, and I thank you for that. I don't want to trip. And so I want to tell you something. I asked myself, who the hell is writing these commercials? And I got the answer because Tom and I and Russell have been in the ad business all of our lives, basically. And that is 20 and 30-year-olds, right, Cheryl? 20 and 30-year-olds who are hired by large ad agencies to write copy and cast commercials. And then I asked why. Why is that the commercial they wrote? And it's because the culture of America is an anti-aging culture. We live in an anti-aging culture. And I was just talking to Esther about how the communist Chinese, Tom and I have been to China 3 times, and the communist Chinese celebrate and honor and revere those who have longevity, as does Japan, as does Cuba, as does Europe, as does Latin America. But United States of America is an anti-aging culture. I mean, let's face it now. Now, nobody wants to get old because there's no reward in it. But I have to ask, does anybody want to die young? I don't think so. So the only other alternative in this anti-aging society is to look like a Kardashian. Thank you for that laughter. I was hoping I'd get it. And does anybody really want to look like that, honestly? You do? Oh, David. So I'll tell you, when you talk about mental health, mine started to suffer. I went to bed that night and I did not wake up the same person. I suddenly, where I'd never thought about age before in my life, started to suffer. I started to become insecure. I thought, who am I to be walking around like this, like age isn't anything? My vision from the media coming back at me told me I needed to be something else, or that I was something else that maybe I didn't catch. And I began to quiet myself down. In meetings where I have chaired charitable meetings for many, many years, suddenly I was afraid to speak up. Maybe I wasn't relevant anymore. Maybe I was living an illusion. Maybe I just couldn't handle being 70, and I'd never thought about it before. It was really hard. And I talked about it with a friend who said, Marla, don't worry about it. I went through the same thing. Just go through what you need to go through now. Walk up to your 70th birthday in January. Celebrate the day, and the next morning wake up and get on with life, and you will. And I thought, oh, okay, good. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be miserable, but it's going to go away on January 18th. But it didn't. Talk about emotional health. That set me into a spiral, or I should phrase, I allowed it to set me into a spiral without realizing it, right? And so I was driving down Sahara. I threw up my hands and I said, I've had it. I can't take it anymore. It was March. I surrender. I surrender. Maybe what I need to do is just lean into it, because the pain was just so great. It really was. Like this smiling, happy person that you see up here today, I usually am this person, but I wasn't. I wasn't. It really got to me. And so I surrendered, decided to lean in. I said to Tom, I got to reframe the word senior citizen. You got to help me. You got to help me. And I had a girlfriend in New York. And together, the three of us, you know, Taylor Swift had the Eras tour. And so we came up with the term long life era. Living in our long life era. And then I began blogging and writing and talking about it. And before you knew it, I had created the Long Life Era community. And 20 hours after I created the community, we had over 100 people. And you can see it, Long Life Era. You can find it on Facebook, Long Life Era Community. It's a group, so just go onto Facebook and type it in. And then 20 hours after the group started, I got invited to be on the radio to talk about aging, wellness, and the Long Life Era community, which I have done every Wednesday on KMZQ 670 AM at 7:35 AM if anybody wants to listen to it. So now, how do we go about changing, this is my mission, changing the culture of the United States of America around aging? So let me give you some data. I want to talk about the generations that are currently here on the planet. There are 7 of them. The first one is the greatest generation. Those are the people who were born 1901 to 1924. And those, ladies and gentlemen, are the centenarians that are alive and well in this country right now today. Now, and you 3 know the answer to this, so don't you say anything. So let me ask you a question. How many centenarians, those are people 100 years or more, do you think are living in America right now? Anybody? Throw a number. 2,000. 2,000. Okay, that's what I thought, believe it or not. Anybody else? I'm going to fall and break my neck there. Anybody else?
25,000.
25,000. Good number. by what I thought at the time, that's pretty high. Anybody else? How about you, Mr. Insurance? No? Okay. There are 89,000 centenarians, 89,000 centenarians living in this country. The next generation is the silent generation. Those are the people that were born 1925 to 1945. So anybody here in the silent generation? That's right. How old are you? 92. 92. Give her a round of applause. Yeah? 83? 83? Yeah? 83. Anybody older than 92? No? Okay. Congratulations. That's great. Look how healthy and strong you are. That's amazing. That's great. So the silent generation, which is so funny because until just a few months ago when I was looking this up, they were so silent I didn't even know they had a name, but they do. They're the silent generation. And then the next generation is the baby boomer generation, right? Those of us born 1946 to 1964. How many of us were born? Well, okay, and how many were actually born in the country? How many? Yep, how many? No. What is I know you guys are thinking that I'm asking who in the room. I know that isn't what I'm asking. I'm asking how many baby boomers were born in America? That's what I'm asking. How many? How many were born? She still doesn't have it. Okay, take a guess. Go ahead. Too many, yes. They had to build schools and everything got bigger, but how many do you think? 45% more of us than the silent generation. Okay. 200 million? Okay, that's a lot more. No, it's not. But good try. It was 76 million. 76 million baby boomers, 45% more than the silent generation. And do you know how many of us are still left? 72 million. There were a little more than 71 million in the 2021 census, believe it or not, which is huge. And after us came Generation X, that's who our children are. And they are far less in population than us, as is every other generation born onto the planet. One scientific reason caused that. Does anybody know what it was? Birth control, that's it. It's exactly right. And so then you have Generation X, Generation Y, also known as the millennials, and Generation, XYZ, and we are now in Generation Alpha. My grandchildren are Generation Alpha. That's who's here now. Now, besides sex, drugs, and rock and roll, which is what our generation is known for, right? What is the one, every generation has a reputation, everyone. What other reputation do we have as a generation? Yell it out if you know it. No? Okay. Social change. Social change, that's right. So we single-handedly stopped the Vietnam War, and nobody can deny that, right? We were at the forefront of the civil rights movement. When it comes to women's liberation, Betty Friedan, who was part of the Greatest Generation, and Gloria Steinem, who was part of the Silent Generation, set the groundwork. But it was the women in the baby boomer generation, like myself, who were the first women to say, I'm going to college and I'm going to get a great job and have a great career. And it was us, the baby boomer women, that walked into jobs and were the first women ever, as I was, in television production in Las Vegas. And I was the first woman in Las Vegas who was a director of the evening newscast, which I was always very proud to be. And the other thing that we did, that we have a reputation for with social change, is with our dimes, our nickels, our quarters, and the dollars from our allowance, we single-handedly supported the British invasion, because it wasn't our parents, right? We had so much economic power as a generation that British invasion said those kids are buying our albums, and they kept on coming and kept on coming and kept on coming. Now let's talk about how much power the baby boomers still have. You can join us. You can join us as part of that. The power that we are at 77 is the largest, so you're part of the silent generation, but that's okay. You probably can jump in and identify with everything I'm saying, the two of you that are 83. And let me tell you about our power. Oh, yep.
Computer technology.
Say that again?
Computer technology.
I can't hear him. What about technology?
The boomer generation.
Yeah, I don't think that we were like high on technology. I think probably Generation X like is more well known for that, and the millennials, yeah. But okay, let's talk about generational power. This is really going to empower you if you don't know it. Overall, the baby boomers have more generational power than any other generation on this planet. We have the highest economic power. We are still the biggest consumers in America. I mean, somebody should tell these retailers because they have totally forgotten us, right? I mean, the ad commercials are for, you know, when you buy ad time, how much is it for? Up to 55, right? Yeah. They don't buy commercials for over 55 years old. The TV stations don't have ratings for that. I mean, let's get on with it, people, right? I mean, that's crazy to think because we have more dollars and our net worth overall per household is higher than any other generation. And by the way, the millennials are still living at home with their parents. So, I mean, you know, it's crazy. When it comes to a voting bloc, we have the largest power of voting anywhere in this country. And culturally, we rock it. We absolutely still rock it. I mean, we really have a lot to be proud of, so much. So, with all that being said, how do we change the culture around aging in America? Well, I really think, since we're known for social change, that we owe it to ourselves, because I think we have just one more revolutionary social change in front of us. And that is to change the culture of aging, the mindset of aging in our country, and not just for us, but for our children and for our grandchildren. Because this anti-aging idea doesn't really work. I don't want my grandchildren injecting themselves when they get older. And I want them to know that living a long life is one of the greatest honors every other country in this world gives to those that live. So I wanted to, I'm sorry, I just kind of lost, I got so emotional there when I thought about my grandchildren. I just want to look down. So there are 4 things that you can do to help start this cultural change. So of the 89,000 that are already living past 100, I decided to set a goal for myself, which is crazy because I still have 119,950 to go, but I'm like, why did I set this goal? But somehow we have to do it as a generation. And the goal is this: can we raise the amount of centenarians that are on the planet to 120,000? Can we do that? Can our generation actually do that and get that done? And so I've created a long life mindset. So I'm going to read it to you. It says, I recognize that living a healthy long life to 100 years and beyond is entirely possible. I embrace becoming a centenarian is part art, which is the mindset, and part science, which is going to your doctors, checking your numbers, staying on top of your physical health, your cognitive health, and your emotional health, right? I believe that from this point forward, I, say your name, I am the artist and scientist of my own long life destiny. And so this is the QR code, so you can join the movement if you would like. And you can, the QR code will take you to the page. You just put in your name and your email that says you're embracing the long life mindset. And then your name gets included on a list. And my goal is to get it to 120,000 so we can start having the conversation. longlifemindset.com. There's a QR code right there. Here's the other thing that we can do besides that. You can start talking about this conversation with your children and your grandchildren and everybody you know. Everybody. Don't be afraid. You are not one of those people who have been cast in those television commercials. You're not. You are amazing and strong and healthy and good. The third thing that you can do is you can, if you'd like, join the Long Life Era community on Facebook. It's a group, so you just put in Long Life Era community, you just tap where it says join, I let you in, and then you join the conversation, which is really great. We'd love to have you. There's already 254 of us in there, and we've got 4 in this room, which is awesome. Thank you, because Tom's in there too. So 5, actually, because I'm in there. And you know what? If you didn't get it right in your early decades, you're not going to get it right once you get to 70, once you get to 60. So encourage your children also to join so that they can hear the conversation and get it right when they become our age. So I'm going to tell you 2 stories. One is about David Sugar, who's sitting here right now. And maybe the story's only 90% right, David, but based on the things that I've heard you write and tell. So you've been included in this talk today. And then I found out you were coming in Illinois. But, so I'm guessing, David, for as much as you love playing guitar, that when you were young, somebody said, hey, you're talented, but you can't support a family playing guitar.
Well, they didn't give me too much on the talent, but they certainly told me.
Okay, all right. So he went off into the casino business for many, many, many years, and he writes in the group that every night, whether he had a 10 or 12-hour day in the casino, he would come home and he would play guitar and practice for 2 hours. Every single day. He never missed a day. And then he retired, and then he went out and started playing and thinking about playing his guitar, and his son-in-law said, hey, Dad, there's a really lousy guitar player at Whole Foods in Green Valley that plays in the bar, and you're better than him. Maybe you should inquire. To which he quipped, I could be terrible, so let me go over there and see. And guess what happened? He is now playing guitar at the Green Valley Whole Foods in the bar. For those of you from Summerlin, they actually have a bar in the Whole Foods in Green Valley with real alcohol. And he is playing guitar, and he is getting paid a Whole Foods gift card every time he does it. So give him a round of applause. And I have a girlfriend who is in the Long Life Era community who she's 70 and her husband is 73. They have always wanted to build a home in the Grand Tetons. And time went by, things happened. They're 70 and 73, and they both said, I guess we waited too long, we're too old to do it. And so they decided to not do it. And then she joined the group. True story. You guys can all verify it. True story. And they went in and they put their name and embraced the long life mindset. 2 days later, everything changed for them. They sat down at the kitchen table and said, you know, I thought we were going to die in a few years, but at 70 and 73, we have 30 or more years to go. And what if we don't make it? That this has been a dream? And guess what happened? I mean, this really fills me up. They started the project. And I said, I'm coming up when that house is done. I'm inviting myself. Yeah, I'm inviting myself. So these are the things that we can do. I just started this group 4 months ago. And that I'm here, and Wanda, thank you so much. I mean, look at the people whose lives may be impacted by this conversation and how we can actually pay it forward and make for a better life for those of us, and maybe put some pressure on that open enrollment commercial people that let's have a casting call and let it be us, and let us show that we're intelligent and that our IQs didn't drop 25 points in the last 25 years. So thank you. Really, this group just started 4 months ago, and I really know that this can enhance and change everybody's life. And I'm so proud to be here and so proud to know all of you. I'll never remember all your names, but I'll probably never forget your face. Thank you, Wanda, so much for giving me the opportunity to express this. And I'm really glad it's over, though. I've been doing...
It's a lot.
It is. It's a lot. But you know what? Thank you all so much. And if you have... Well, do you have any questions before we go? Go ahead. Oh.
Say really quickly, though, what they don't know is that you're going to be at our next Aging Wellness
Yes.
event, which is at South Point, March 2nd, so save the date.
Oh, I better save the date too, huh?
Well, yes, and you should save the date.
It is my honor to do so. Thank you so much.
Well, longevity has a lot to do with it also. Your genes.
Your genes. But you know, there are things about your genes that can change with regards to nutrition, and really think about the mindset, how that impacts your genes too. 2 people said, I'm going to live to 83, I'm going to live to 92, or I don't. And whatever those genes were, I think genetically, there's a lot of people in here that told me that they had their parents and they lived to 102 or 103. And yes, genes do, and I don't know enough to say, how much nutrition and mindset can impact your genes, but genes do change and evolve. They do.
I'd like to comment on that because, yes, genetically it is in your genes
Yeah.
somewhat. However, how do you want to be at 100?
Yeah.
Do you want to just be sitting in your lounge chair, or do you want to be out and about doing
Right.
things?
And true, because that's the thing, that we want to remember those that are the healthiest live the longest. And there are ways, my husband was on, listen, honey, stand up, show them how good looking you are. He was not, he's always been good looking, okay? But at the end of the day, he was 50 pounds overweight, and I loved him anyway, but he was also on a ton of medication. And he is on no medication any longer. Yes, your question.
Your recipes, where can we find them?
Oh, the recipes are on nannybubby.com. Now, I just want to tell you about the recipes. So those recipes were majorly created over the 5 years that I've been on Channel 8. But it isn't until this year that I just actually, middle of the year, that I have begun to change those recipes. Most of the recipes are not nightly recipes, but they are recipes for celebrations, which I highly believe in. So Tom and I have a philosophy. There's a time to feast, celebrations, and a time to fast. And fasting we do on a daily basis, meaning that we eat a lot less calories during the week when there's nothing to celebrate than we do tomorrow when we're celebrating our son-in-law's 40th birthday. So we're going to have alcohol, he's not going to have dessert, but I am. There's all kinds of ways to eat. And so the newer recipes, the older recipes are for festive occasions, some nightly recipes, but all the new recipes going on nannybubby.com are going to be for eating in a way that is healthy, which, by the way, we eat 25 pounds of vegetables a week. It's the truth. We do, and a lot of lean proteins, and that's our diet. So you know, you don't need to mix, you don't need to do a bunch of different things. It's pretty easy. Steam, roast your vegetables, buy 25 pounds. It's the best thing you can do for everything, including elimination, which is great. I always wondered why I was constipated when I was younger. It's because I was eating McDonald's, right? Not so good. But anyway, yes, Esther.
You are terrific. Everyone should hear you speak.
Oh,
Can I ask you a question?
yes, ask me a
I
question.
have to tell my husband that
Oh,
the
hi.
reason I came here was I try to learn how to eat to gain 1 pound a week. I need to gain 10 pounds.
Talk to him. He can gain 5 pounds in one night. No. That's wonderful. I wish I could tell you that. I don't know how. But I think you're blessed because truly the thinner you are, the healthier you are. So that's, yes, you're beautiful. You're beautiful.
Is mindset gonna go nationwide?
Well, I mean, you know, it's been 4 months. I have a vision, but let's see. But thank you for asking. Share it, and let's see what happens. So thank you all so very much for being here. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
When is your cooking show that you said is on Channel 8?
It is.
What day and time?
Well, okay, so I'm in Las Vegas now, which is their daily show at 3 p.m. Excuse me. And I used to be on every other week, but I'm now on once a quarter because I'm a lot busier. Excuse me. And also, I do want to say, during COVID, I love this. I want to tell you, during COVID, I cooked live every single day, 5 days a week on Facebook. And for 18 months. 18 months I did that. It was crazy. I don't know how I did that. I can't do it now because, you know, the world is open and I'm busy as everybody else. But I'm there 1 or 2 days a week. So you can catch me on Facebook, Nanny Bubby Facebook page, and like the page, and then it'll alert you and tell you when I'm live. Okay? Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here.